The first two topics we've talked about players making a lot of money. Mbappe, $700 something million offer. Jaylen Brown signing the richest deal in NBA history. The last topic we're covering here is these NFL running backs. We're coming back to it, right? We talked about it last week, but there's some interesting updates that I want to talk about. This situation is the opposite of those, right? Like, this is a situation where players are complaining about not getting enough money or not getting enough security, right? Not making enough security with their contracts to make them feel not necessarily just valued, but safe, protected, appreciated, all that kind of stuff. Let me go ahead and bring up the reason why we're talking about this 2 weeks in a row, why it made the top 3 topics 2 weeks in a row, is some interesting things have transpired. And I think it's well worth a conversation. It's interesting stuff that happened. Very, very interesting. The first thing here is Jim Irsay, owner of the Colts, tweeted out, NFL running back situation. We have negotiated a CBA. It took years of effort and hard work and compromise in good faith by both sides. To say now that a specific player category wants another negotiation after the fact is inappropriate. Some agents are selling bad faith. Mind you, Jim Irsay is like the owner, the CEO of the Colts, and he's tweeting this out. I did not expect, as the coaches have kept it quiet. The GMs have kept it quiet. I haven't seen NFL owners really saying much. For Jim Irsay to jump out like this in these Twitter streets and comment on the running back situation, and not even to speak in support of it. He jumped out into these Twitter streets, or should I say these X streets, and talk ill of the running back situation and what the agents are doing. I didn't see this coming, nor did I see on the flip side of that, on the flip side of Jim Irsay, defending the team stance, was the agent. He responded to Jim Irsay. Bad faith is not paying your top offensive player. This is Malachi Kawa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He is the agent for Jonathan Taylor. He responded to the Colts owner, who was knocking the running backs, request, pushback for more money or more safety in their contracts, more guarantee. The agent is speaking out. The agent that he was pretty much probably referring to as far as selling bad faith speaks out and knocks the owner for this. This is not looking good for Jonathan Taylor. If you're a Colts fan right now, you're a little concerned about the situation of the agent of the best player on the team arguing with the owner of the team. It's not fun. That's not a good situation to be seeing here. And then again, like I shared here, he tweeted twice. Ian Rappaport put, I hope this relationship can be fixed. The agent tweeted again, I doubt it. This is, we don't see this every day. We do not see, NFL owners speaking out, I would say, against the player in a sense, against the topic of the day. Right? The argument, the situation that's occurring across the league, we don't see that happen very much. Usually if they come out and speak, it's in some sort of favor, right? Like in some sort of support of it, or, that we're working through it, that we're making progress on it. That's normally what you see when, you see an owner talk or a GM talk or a coach talk. This one was against that. Then you have here the agent of the player jumping right back out, saying, hey, you're talking about us agents, right? And how we're doing stuff in bad faith. I'm going to argue back with you. So he jumps out. When do you see this happening? This is all new to us. This is all new. I don't know if it was a switch from Twitter to X that caused, these guys to get emboldened. I don't know what's happening right now, but that's crazy, right? So now the Colts have their own situation. Jonathan Taylor, that's going on, right? He's there. He's playing at camp. He's doing everything. So that's not necessarily a concern for right now. On the flip side, you had, Saquon Barkley, who was one of the big, situations going on where it was kind of like him and Josh Jacobs standing up, against this contract situations to, get things right, if you will. And something changed for that as well since last week. Prior to the deadline to sign a multi-year deal this offseason, Giants running back Saquon Barkley said that the only real leverage he had after getting the franchise tag was to sit out the season, and he was actually mulling it over whether or not to do that. This is from Pro Football Talk. Barkley didn't land a long-term deal, and he won't be sitting out after agreeing with the Giants on a 1-year revised contract that offers incentives above the $10.1 million salary attached to the tag. In his first press conference since agreeing to that deal, Barkley said that he was planning on sitting out the season before having an epiphany, and that led him to reverse course. I don't know what that epiphany was. I don't know. Maybe he looked at the history of NFL running backs and the Super Bowl winning running backs and what they've been making. I don't know if he's thought about, what Le'Veon Bell did and how it affected his career and other running backs, not just Le'Veon Bell. I don't know if he thought about the fact that, things are not good when a player holds out in his position. Check out this, though. To add to that, he said, it was a play that I had. I'll be completely honest. If I sat out this year and we didn't have a good record, do you think that's going to make another team in free agency or the Giants want to come have me come back the next year after I sat out a whole year? We want to give you $15 million a year now. I don't think that's how it's going to work. After having conversations and really breaking it down, you say that the only way I'm going to make a change or do something that's going to benefit for myself and my family is doing what I do best. That's showing up, playing the game I love, and doing it at a high level. So Saquon Barkley woke up to the moment. This isn't a good idea, right? Like he wants to do what's right. He wants to push back. He wants to be the guy standing up against the NFL and the situation that he feels is not right. But at the end of the day, as much as you want to do something, are you willing to hurt yourself? Are you willing to hurt yourself, your family, and everybody else that you support to prove a point, to fight for something? That's a real, dilemma. That's a real battle to have within yourself. That is a legitimate situation to be in. It doesn't usually play out well for running backs. It hasn't in the past. The history of what running backs have accomplished in the Super Bowl and their salary hasn't played out well for him. It's just nothing was lining up to help this battle for him. On the flip side, we also have other running backs out there like Dalvin Cook, who are one of the elite running backs in the league. He's a free agent. Right now, Tom Pelissero says 4-time Pro Bowl playmaker Dalvin Cook is flying to New York for a visit with the Jets this weekend. So he is looking at signing a deal with the Jets. We'll see what kind of money he gets. I don't really understand that situation and why they would want him. They have Breece Hall. They have a bunch of other running backs who are decent there while he gets back from injury. That'll be a weird situation with Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook. Listen, we play fantasy, right? Right? Rival fantasy. That's what we do here. I'm not happy about having Breece Hall and then Dalvin Cook being there. That doesn't get me excited. When I'm doing challenges, when I'm doing fantasy book, when I'm doing bingo, to know that there's two elite running backs splitting this workload when they're both healthy doesn't excite me. It just doesn't. So that's definitely a weird situation, but it's one to keep track of, to see what's going on. But the biggest part of this all is the fact that Josh Jacobs is now the only running back who didn't report. Tony Pollard reported, Jonathan Taylor reported, Austin Eckler made it work. Saquon Barkley, as we just discussed, made it work. Dalvin Cook's potentially finding a new team. But here we are where the Raiders and Josh Jacobs are not. Dove Kleiman from Mike Garofalo says Raiders made a $12 million a year offer to running back Josh Jacobs. Clearly, $12 million would be a lot of money. It would actually be a good offer. Again, when everyone criticizes this and sees this report come out and they, some blast Josh Jacobs and say $12 million a year. I mean, come on, man, you're not going to get much more than $12 million a year. Like that's a pretty fair offer. He then fires off a tweet, common sense, not too common, clearly. Josh Jacobs has been doing this where he's been speaking in, code, subliminals. He's been using, social media as this, weird place to drop, clues and hints, but not actually fully say anything. My thing is this. I'm a Raiders fan. I believe Josh Jacobs wants to play for the Raiders. All the Raider veterans have talked about. They've been in close communication with Josh Jacobs. They all know we need Josh Jacobs to win games. But again, here we are. I personally believe that Josh Jacobs should return. He should play. He should finish the season, and hopefully him and the Raiders can work something out. If they don't and he moves on, he will find out quickly that he is not going to make a lot of money anywhere else, any more money, I should say, than he would have in Las Vegas. I don't know what kind of guarantees other teams will give him. What the Raiders were offering, I don't know, but I do hope that these two work it out because I would hate to see, his career go in the way of a Le'Veon Bell where you hold out, you do all this stuff, and then you just don't come back the same. You get older, your body's taking a little, more abuse. Things just don't play out the same. Teams find out that, hey, we can run out. If the Raiders turn around and run out Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, maybe some other guys, and they still play well, it's not going to be good for Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was like the best running back in football last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. It didn't change a thing. It did not change a thing. Yes, they won some games because of him. Yes, they had some great moments because of him. Yes, they gave them moments to fight because he was carrying the team on his back. But at the end of the day, you didn't even make the playoffs. Derek Carr is gone. Other players are gone. The Raiders are not going to bend over backwards to do anything crazy for Josh Jacobs. I also don't think that it's absurd what he's asking for. It's probably like guarantee me 2 or 3 years. And I think he's young enough to do that. So I hope that these two can, find a way to come to an agreement on, what he's worth to the team. Cause I do believe he's worth a lot to the team, but at the same time, make it make sense for everybody involved. And let's just hope it plays out that way. That's what I'm hoping for. And I think it can be, but this year he has to play. He can't sit out this year and not, show them and remind them of his value.